an equal payment for everybody. My daughter's worth just as much as anybody in a corner office.
My wife died that day, and everything about this formula offends me. Sorry to hear that.
But we can't bend the rules for every case.
Why not? Congress gives you broad discretion. But when 7,000 citizens ask you not to be treated like some numbers on a spreadsheet, you act like that law came down from Sinai.
There's something beautiful about an ugly cry. That cathartic, no-holds-barred kind of release just makes you feel human, and probably explains why so many of us love sad movies. From tragic romances to sorrowful period pieces to heartbreaking adaptations of true stories. The best tearjerkers bring the good with the sad, empathy, gratitude, new perspectives, and a comfort that comes from feeling less alone in the face of our own hardships. If you're in need of a good cry, you've come to the right place. These 12 films feature tales of star-crossed lovers, grieving mothers, and ill-fated victims of circumstance, all ready and waiting to wet your cheeks and sucker punch you right in the feels. Grab the tissues and your emotional support blanket, because you're gonna need 'em. Number 12. All the Bright Places. Despite its name, this coming-of-age drama opens dark. While out for a run, Finch comes across a seemingly suicidal Violet perched on the side of a bridge. He talks her down, and the teens become partners for a school project exploring their home state of Indiana. As they grow close, Finch learns of Violet's survivor's guilt in the aftermath of a car crash that killed her sister, while Violet discovers the terrible truth behind Finch's loner persona and occasional strange behavior. Will the brightness they find in each other be enough to save them from the darkness within themselves? Adapted from the novel by Jennifer Niven, ATBP's shiniest spot may be its committed cast, with performances that are tender, thoughtful and, of course, tear-inducing. Number 11. All Together Now. Everybody loves Amber, a high school senior with a sunny disposition, generous spirit and dreams of studying musical theater at Carnegie Mellon University, the alma mater of her late father. But underneath the huge smile lies a huge secret. Amber and her mom, Becky, are homeless and living in the school bus Becky drives for work. As their money situation becomes dire, Becky begins accepting favors from an abusive ex-boyfriend who exacerbates her alcoholic tendencies. When Carnegie Mellon invites Amber to audition, the girl who gives so much to everyone else will have to learn to accept help herself. With stirring musical performances and sweet cameos from Fred Armisen and Carol Burnett, the film ends on a hopeful note, but, boy, does it put you through it before then. Number 10. First Match. Monique M.O., a teenager from Brooklyn's Brownsville neighborhood, has bounced from one foster home to another her whole life. Now that her father, Daryl, is out of prison, M.O. hopes to move in with him. When Daryl says no, M.O. decides she'll change his mind by joining the boys' wrestling team. Knowing Daryl was a medal-winning champ back in his day. Gritty and impactful, First Match won both the Audience Award and the Luna/Game Changer Award when it premiered at the South by Southwest Festival. Emmanuel dominates on and off the mat as the tenacious M.O., while Gerald A. Jerome and Coleman Domingo provide standout performances as Mo's loyal friend, Omari, and tough coach Castile, respectively. Part inspirational sports movie, part raw family drama, all about an unfortunate truth, that sometimes the people we fight for the hardest don't want us to win. Number 9. Kodachrome. As a famous photographer with terminal liver cancer, Ben Ryder's dying wish is for his estranged son, Matt, to drive him to Dwayne's photo in Parsons, Kansas, the last place in the world that processes Ben's preferred medium, Kodachrome film. Matt, a record label exec in danger of losing his job, agrees only after a promise from Ben's manager to set up a meeting between Matt and the band that could save his career. With 4 rolls of film and Ben's nurse/personal assistant, Zoe, in tow, they set off on a road trip adventure with a few meaningful stops along the way. Inspired by a 2010 New York Times article, Kodachrome is the ultimate reconciliation story, in which a picture's worth 1,000 weeps. Number 8. Les Miserables. How could you not put a film called Les Miserables on a sad movies list? Based on the hit stage musical, which is based on Victor Hugo's 1862 French historical novel, Les Mis tells the tale of Jean Valjean, an ex-con on a quest for redemption. The plot spans decades as Valjean attempts to escape his past and provide a promising future for Cosette, the illegitimate daughter of one of his former factory workers, Fantine. Further bolstered by an ensemble cast that includes Russell Crowe, Eddie Redmayne, Helena Bonham Carter, Aaron Tveit, Samantha Barks, and Sacha Baron Cohen, Les Mis took home 3 Academy Awards, including Best Sound Mixing, so you know the musical numbers are epic. Number 7. Passing. Rebecca Hall's directorial debut, an adaptation of Nella Larsen's 1929 novel, is about the intertwined lives of 2 light-skinned black women who can pass as Caucasian, a plot that's underscored by the film being shot in black and white. In 1920s New York City, Irene runs into her childhood friend, Claire, in a hotel dining room. Irene discovers that not only has Claire been passing as a white woman, she's married a racist white banker named John. John has no idea about Claire's racial identity, but Claire is willing to risk him finding out the truth in order to spend time with Irene, her husband Brian, and the black community she's missed so much. With understatedly brilliant lead performances, Passing provides a quiet, mesmerizing watch until a crescendo ending that'll take you out. Number 6. Pieces of a Woman. Martha and Sean are expecting their first child. But when it comes time to deliver, their midwife is unavailable and sends another, Eva, in her place. During the home birth, the unspeakable happens and the baby dies of cardiac arrest. In the traumatic fallout, the grief overwhelms the couple and extends to Martha's mother, Elizabeth. Now the family must figure out how to move forward, with or without each other. Originally a play, Pieces of a Woman was created by the film's director, Cornel Mundruxo, and screenwriter, Kata Weber, themselves a couple who experienced miscarriage. And its admirers include none other than Martin Scorsese, who was so moved when he saw the film that he signed on as an executive producer. Number 5. Roma. The first Mexican feature to win the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film. This black and white drama, from writer-director Alfonso Cuarón, takes its name from Mexico City's Colonia Roma district. It's here, during a time of domestic and political turmoil in the early 1970s, that a housekeeper named Cleo works as a live-in maid for an upper-middle-class family. The father, Antonio, is constantly away for business, prompting the mother, Sofia, to suspect he's having an affair. Meanwhile, Cleo has suspicions of her own, that she's pregnant. But when she tells her boyfriend, Fermin, he leaves her. Intensely personal and visually stunning, Roma amassed many accolades following its release, and its 10 Oscar nominations also yielded wins for Best Director and Cinematography. Number 4. Still Alice. Julianne Moore won an Oscar for her portrayal of Alice Howland, a prodigious linguistics professor with early-onset Alzheimer's. As the disease progresses, Alice struggles with losing her faculties and sense of self, getting lost in once familiar places, and eventually becoming unable to do her job. Meanwhile, her husband, John, and children Anna and Lydia wrestle in their own ways, watching their mother decline and not knowing how best to help. This devastatingly poignant drama is another literary adaptation, based on a novel written by Lisa Genova, a neuroscientist whose grandmother developed Alzheimer's disease and whose story subsequently inspired the book and film. Number 3. Titanic. A movie so wrenching it's had viewers debating the logistics of who could fit on a door for 25 years. James Cameron's historical epic tells a sweeping love story amidst the tragic 1912 sinking of the titular ship. Those lovers are Kate Winslet's Rose, an upper-class passenger traveling with her mother and arrogant fiancé, Cal, who she's agreed to marry at her mother's urging because they need his money. Once aboard the Titanic, she crosses paths with Jack, a poor artist who won a third-class ticket in a poker game. Despite their class differences and Rose's engagement, the pair begin a passionate romance, and then, just as they've found one another, disaster strikes. At more than 3 hours long, it's certainly not a short watch, but it's a true classic. Number 2. The Zookeeper's Wife. Set in Poland during World War II, this drama is based on Diane Ackerman's non-fiction book of the same name and depicts the true story of zookeepers Jan Zabinski and Antonina Zabins. The couple helped save hundreds of Jews from the Nazis by hiding them in the Warsaw Zoo and then working with an underground resistance group to transport them to safe houses. The cruelty of the Third Reich is difficult for anyone to see on screen, but for animal lovers, there are a few scenes that are particularly gutting. And yet, the film's world building is visually rich, complete with gorgeous costuming, ornate sets, and, not surprisingly, extraordinary wildlife. Number 1. Worth. Imagine having to assign a dollar amount to a person's life. Then imagine having to do it thousands of times. This 2020 biopic stars Michael Keaton as Kenneth Feinberg, the attorney put in charge of handling the September 11th Victim Compensation Fund. It follows the 2-year process Feinberg, his partner Camille Byros, and their team went through to define the parameters of the fund and to get the families of the victims to sign on. Filled with powerhouse acting and real-life stories about 9/11 victims and survivors, Worth is an emotional experience from start to finish. Plus, it serves as an important reminder that the value of a person can't be determined by income and algorithms. So that's 12 sad movies on Netflix. I hope you like this video, and please subscribe this channel. See you in another video. Bye.